Welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. I am your host, Kris Murray. Childcare leaders around the globe are breaking through challenges, leading the way in innovation, testing new best practices, and impacting children and families in a much more powerful and positive way than ever before. Each week, join me for interviews with early childhood leaders and experts that will leave you inspired to become the next childcare rockstar. Now, let's go. This is episode 206 of Childcare Rockstar Radio, featuring Regina Miller. Folks, this is a not to be missed episode, and I am talking about a super energetic, inspirational, motivational, and optimistic woman that many of you know. Miss Regina Miller is a force to be reckoned with, and she brings the joy on this episode of this podcast. I can't say enough about Regina, her energy, her spirit, her drive, and how much impact she's made on the field of early learning and early childhood. It's beyond what many of us can even imagine with regard to her impact as an author, a trainer, a speaker, and a powerhouse leader with Trailblazers Academy, the school that she founded in the Wichita area. And you're going to meet Regina today and just be prepared to be wowed and to be charmed and also to learn a ton. This episode is called Leadership Lessons in Childcare because that's the name of Regina's book, Leadership Lessons. And she dives into all of it with real talk. And not only that, but you're going to get some marriage and dating advice as well on this podcast. So stay tuned and we'll meet Regina here in a moment. And I want to let you know that right now here in July of 2025, we are quickly counting down and being very excited about the Childcare Success Summit in Atlanta this fall. It's in mid-October. And our featured keynote is Mr. Ron Clark. So talking about all things leadership in education, one of the most well-known and highest followed leaders that we have in our country is Mr. Ron Clark. And there's going to be no better example of how to take your leadership game to the next level than you will find at the Childcare Success Summit this fall in Atlanta. So if you still have not gotten your tickets, you are definitely not going to want to miss this. And we have a bunch of other amazing speakers as well. We're going to bring some of those folks to the podcast coming up in the next couple months. And go to childcaresuccesssummit.com and get your tickets now while they last. We are selling those tickets like hotcakes, and we will sell out. I have no doubt that usually by the later part of August, early September, we are sold out in the ballroom. So childcaresuccesssummit.com, do not delay. What you're also going to hear on this podcast that Regina talks about, and Regina has advice for you if you're a new manager or director in the childcare space, or if you're seasoned and maybe you need a little refresh, a little new swing in your step, some new energy that you can bring to your game. If you've been around for the last 10, 20, 30 years in childcare, and many of you have in the director seat, it can get up to a place where you may be feeling burnt out. And this podcast is exactly what you need if I'm speaking to you right now. So Regina talks about how owners can re-engage with their teams and how important it is to be an engaged owner if you own a childcare business, to not be absentee and to bring energy to your team, because it all starts at the top. And one thing that I wanted to mention regarding that, and then connecting back to the Childcare Success Summit conference, is that the strategy to reignite your teams and re-engage yourself, as well as your directors and admin, is to bring your team with you to the summit. And there's no better strategy I know of to get on the same page with you and your leadership team. So get those tickets. Again, childcaresuccesssummit.com, and gift a ticket to your directors and watch them get re-inspired and reignited just alongside you as an owner. Don't just send them, but come yourself as well together, and you will be amazed at how that can change the vibe at your preschool or childcare center and set you up for success in 2026 and beyond. Let's get to it, folks. Enough of me yapping. Regina Miller is right here on tap. I cannot wait for you to meet her. And let's go. Childcare Rockstar Radio. Enjoy it. Welcome, folks. I'm very excited to introduce you to my guest today, Regina Miller. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm having a great day.
Fantastic. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so thrilled that you're here. Where are you sitting right now, geographically? Where are you located?
Wichita, Kansas. I'm in Kansas.
Okay. And are you at your center?
I'm at my center, but I have a separate office that's for my consulting. And so I'm sitting in the consulting office.
Okay, cool. The name of your program is Trailblazers Academy, but you're known for a lot more than that because you are an industry-wide speaker, trainer, and author. And I'm very excited to have you. You have spoken to our academy, I think it was last summer or 2 summers ago. How long's it been?
Last summer. Just
Yeah.
1 year ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is right on time. It's about time I had you here on the podcast. So thanks again, and welcome to Childcare Rockstar Radio. Tell us a little bit about you and how you serve the early childhood industry.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Regina R. Miller, and that R is important because I use it in my consulting business. I'm known as R. Miller Consulting. I've been in childcare for 47 years. I absolutely adore everything about early childhood and early literacy and learning. And so therefore, that skill I took over into my consulting company to ensure that the younger generation, as I get older and gracefully older, I want it to be passed on. So I have 35 years of leadership. I've owned my own businesses for the last 16 years. We downsized from a school of 200 to a small school of 40. It's been a blessing. My daughter, Helen, who passed away, this was her dream. Helen's here on the wall there behind me. It was her dream to have a smaller setting so we can focus on literacy and have a lending library and just serve the community. And that's what Trailblazers is all about. Trailblazers recently won in 2025. Nope, I'm wrong. 2024, we won the citywide Best Childcare Center in Wichita. We're very proud of that award, not because it's an award that says that we're better than the rest. It's an award that says we're doing our part. And I believe that all of us have a part. So there's no better school, bigger school, best school. There's all of us, and then there's all of these children that need us.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. So you got 4 decades plus in this amazing industry, which is just such an amazing breadth and wealth of experience, Regina. And tell us a little bit about your home life. Sure. Are you married?
So
Are
at
you
home,
go ahead.
yes, at home I will be celebrating my 40th wedding anniversary in February. I'm married to the love of my life, Jesse. We treat each other like the day we met each other because we try and keep our love alive. Love doesn't last if you don't nurture it. So we made a commitment about 20 years ago to do date nights. And so if you're my social media friend, every Friday night, you're going to see me get excited and say it's date night. And it's not always something elaborate. It could just be a movie and dinner. It could be a live jazz concert, or us just sitting on the deck enjoying each other. But we make a special time to be committed to one another. And especially after we lost our daughter in 2022, unexpectedly at the tender age of 36, we really leaned in more of being each other's support because we learned through grief counseling that people who lose their children usually often get divorced. And we were like, that's not happening to us. We also have a son who's very strong. His name is Jesse also, and he's 37. Now I'm getting old. I can remember their ages. Jesse's 37, and he has a little girl that was born on Christmas Day in 2021, and then Helen passed 3 weeks ago. So she's the love of my life. Her name is Reagan, and she brings the joy. So you'll hear me talk about bringing the joy. God knew that I needed something to hold on to, and he kind of sent me Helen 2.0 because Reagan mirrors her personality, and She keeps me going and keeps me wanting to make very much a dent in early childhood education. I
Mm.
hail from Norfolk, Virginia, so I'm originally from Virginia, but my husband was in the military, so we traveled a lot. The reason why my book has the picture of the Golden Gate Bridge is because we spent 6 years in California when our kids were little, and we used to take them to the Golden Gate Bridge Park. And I used to look over that big old bridge and say, one day I'm going to own my own childcare center. And I cast my wish into that sea. So that's why that book
Mm.
has that. Yeah.
There's so much there to be inspired by. My goodness. I am also a huge fan of San Francisco and Golden Gate Park, have been there several
Yes.
times.
Yes.
So thanks for sharing that. I love that inspiration. I was just there about a month ago with my boyfriend, my boo.
Yes. Yes.
And I love date night. Date night
Yes.
with Jesse and Regina. This is good
Yeah.
stuff. This is
Yeah.
juicy.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have friends that send me a text and say, didn't see anything posted about date night. And I'll have to say, well, I'm out of town or Jesse's out of town, but we'll make it up on Saturday night. But you put
That's
in that
great.
time. You put in that time.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Do you think you'll ever retire, Regina? You're just going to keep
No such
going?
word in my life, Kris. There's no such word. I was just asked that question by my financial planner, and he was asking me, "Well, what are we doing here? Let's look at your portfolio. Let's look at that." Like, I'm not retiring. And Jesse started laughing, and he goes, "You couldn't tie Regina down and not let her talk or do a presentation. She's gonna do that till something happens that she just can't do it anymore." So no, the word
Yes.
retirement is not in my vocabulary. I do plan to I do purposely focus on self-care and backing back a little bit and relaxing. So I'm taking more trips for myself and doing those type of things, but no retirement. It's not an
Yeah.
it's not a financial thing, it's a heart thing. I
Yes.
have to keep going. Yeah.
Anybody that has seen you speak knows how much passion and joy and energy you bring to the stage because you want to pour into the
Yes.
hearts and souls and minds of these amazing educators that we have and these leaders that we have in the early childhood space. So, highly recommend if you guys haven't had a chance to bring Regina to your group, you should do so because she's amazing. And I love the passion. I love the energy. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. People ask often, do you ever sleep? And I'm like, no. I'm an early retire when I'm not having date night. Date night has to be over by 10 p.m. I'm tired. But
Yes.
get up at 5 a.m. even on the weekend. And
Wow.
it's my quiet time with God and nature. And it's my self-reflection time to make sure
Yeah.
that I'm pouring into me and that I'm also giving out, what can be used and not just, being some people are just tangible. And I don't want to be tangible. I don't want to be someone that speaks because I have this knowledge. I want it to make an impact, like you were saying. And I'll
Mm.
keep on talking till it makes an impact. So, yeah.
Well, I think that there is a connection between the 5 a.m. wake up time and
Yes.
having this time of prayer and pondering and
Yeah.
peace with your your
My maker.
your
Yeah.
maker. That's the
Yeah.
word I was looking
Myself.
for.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have the same routine, although I'm not a 5 a.m. girl. I'm more like a 6:30 a.m. girl. But my first
Okay.
2 hours are out in nature, usually doing a walk with my dog in all seasons, even in the wintertime. I bundle up
Yes.
and go on my winter walk. And having that pondering prayer and nature time for me is what gets me out of bed, excited to go experience and start my day
Yes.
and come back to myself and my own heart and soul and listening to my higher self.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're doing that. And I
Yes.
love that.
I always wonder when people say, I don't like to be alone. That's a trigger for me because I'm wondering how then do you get centered and how do you know if what you're putting out in the universe is truly your authentic self? If
Yes.
you're free to be alone with you, I don't really know that I want that company because you gotta like yourself before you'll even like me. You
That's
just
right.
won't like people if you don't like the person that God made you to be and work on that person first before you pour into others. Yeah. So
100%, 100%. And even Regina in my early, mid to late 50s here over the last 4 years.
looking
Uh,
good, Kris, looking
oh,
good.
well, thank you, honey. I've really been discovering new versions of like peeling back and really getting in touch with the authentic self
Self.
of where is my heart and what is my true, and then really falling in love with myself again, which
Yes,
might sound strange, but that's
I
exactly what
know.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
love alone
yeah.
time.
Yeah, like when I embraced my daughter, and I don't want to go off tangent, but my daughter before she passed away, she used to say, I used to get my hair colored every month. And she'd say, Mom, people think we're sisters. Why don't you let your hair gray? And I would say, well, no, then folks would know my age. And she goes, but people know your spirit. So she started that walk
Mm.
with me years ago. And I was like, when she passed, I said to my stylist, put away the hair color. We're not going to do it anymore. And she's like, okay, now you're being authentic, the 60s Regina. And so, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And I'm
Cool.
loving her. I mean, she didn't take away from any of my energy. It's just when I look in the mirror, I'm like, is that my hair? It is what
Well,
it is. And the husband loves it. So long as my date loves it, I'm
that's
good.
right. That's right. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. It sets you apart. You've got this awesome gray hairdo, and it's gorgeous. It's
Yeah,
silver. You're a
thank
silver
you.
fox. And it
Yeah,
looks
well,
beautiful.
thank you.
Yes. Let's talk about your new book. So your
Okay.
book is called Leadership Lessons.
Yes.
And
Yes.
is this your first book?
No, this is actually my third book.
Okay.
I've co-authored a book called Wichita Women, Being Wichita Women. And then my second book was the book I wrote about my relationship with my daughter called The Life Celebration That Never Ends. And it's loaded with pictures from the day she was born to the day that I got that dreadful call from her husband saying she passed away. So that's my second book. And then the third book is The Leadership Lessons. Yeah. But Leadership Lessons, believe it or not, Kris, is the first book I started writing. And it was just so hard to pin in there. You know why? I had to be transparent and honest.
Mm.
And there was no way to tell that story without talking about me. And every
Yes.
time I would start typing, my editor would say, I love that page. Don't change a thing. And I'd send it back to her. She'd go, you changed that page. Why'd you do that? Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
it's bearing your soul of all the mistakes that, I went through to make sure someone else doesn't waste time doing that same circle, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's two of the hardest jobs to me of the journey that I've had for my own experience. Number one is being a mom is
Yes.
is is a hard job that you'll always love, and no matter what happens, it's just
Mhm.
that amazing journey that nothing else can be like being a mother. And number
It's
two
true.
is being a leader. And I often say leadership is not for the faint of heart, because we learn so
It's not
much about, like, I don't know about you, but I've definitely screwed up a bunch as a
a
leader.
lot, a
A
lot.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah. And
Yeah.
and and it's the lot that you don't understand until you get to the next level and you're like, you know what, that wasn't so bad. I really waste a lot of time beating myself up when I should have took the lesson instead of beating myself up about I
Yeah.
need to get it right. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah. That's
yeah.
good. So that's covered in your book, Leadership Lessons, and it's available on Amazon, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
May I
it's
may I
helping.
show you a picture of the book?
Yes,
May I
please
show
do.
you?
Yeah, lay it on us. Let me see.
There's the book.
Oh, there's the Golden Gate Bridge. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I've gotten lots of you know how you get reviews on Amazon, and I've
Yeah.
also gotten emails and stuff from people I don't know across the country that'll
Mhm.
say we used your book in our training and it was impactful because it was, easy read and we really pulled out the nuggets and we just appreciate it. We want you to come speak to us and I love that because you can learn a lot. A lot of times like people think learning means hours and it doesn't always take a lot of hours if you just pull apart maybe one or two things that you need, maybe getting started or you're in the middle or you're at the burnout. So yeah,
Yes.
leadership. Mhm.
Cool. So talk to me about one of the top leadership lessons that you had that you experienced yourself that really transformed you as a leader, or something that you want to share to the listeners as kind of one of the big writer downers?
One of the things I talk about in my book is listening to people. A lot of times, as leaders, when we hire on new people and they're smart, we get intimidated and we think, oh man, she's gonna go start her own company, or she's smarter than me in that area. And I, as a young leader, had a struggle with that because I always thought I first started working for a corporate site that the corporate would replace me if they saw that my assistant was as brighter or better in IT, or she did better in the enrollment process. But what I learned through all of that was that I still had things that made me attractive as a leader and the reason why I was placed in that position. So I learned to cultivate that, not get afraid of it, but to use it. And once I started using it, those people felt better about themselves. And yes, some are very successful business owners today, as like myself. And then others come back to me and say, I wouldn't be the successful leader I am today had you stunted my growth. So a
Mhm.
lot of times when people have people on their team that they deem as that person's going to take over, they don't use that talent. So if I could give the listeners one tidbit today, it would be hire someone smarter than you.
Mm.
Learned that young. I learned that in my old age.
Mhm.
Always hire people who are smarter than you because it makes you a better person.
Mhm.
You're getting better by their talent. So when we say, man, I saw her resume, she's overqualified, I'm not putting her on my team, she'll buy my business in a year. Well, she might not buy your business, but she might buy her own business. But while she's with you, you believe me, you have something to teach her, and she has something to teach you. So don't be afraid of talent. That's my one of the
Yes,
lessons. Yeah.
I love that. Before we hit the start button, we were talking about new leaders, new managers versus seasoned or veteran
Yes.
leaders. And there's pitfalls or danger spots. I mean, for both, there's, strengths. Like as a new leader, you're coming in, you're fresh, you've got energy, you've got, excitement, maybe more than a veteran who might be a little bit more burnout, or, having gone through a lot of issues like dealing with COVID and having
Yes.
all, but you have more of that experience as a veteran, but you might not have that fresh energy. So tell us a little bit, if you have any advice when you're working with new leaders, what are some things that you seek to share with somebody who's brand new to early childhood
Even
education?
even as a consultant with my clients, they'll tell them, they'll say, "Well, I just opened a center and I don't really know a whole lot about leadership." One of the things that I always tell them in leadership to do, don't make the same mistakes that I made, thinking that the title qualifies you for all the entire circus. You need someone in every part of your ring. And when we discredit folks because we're the director and we know what we're talking about, and we're not going to listen to them, you are closing the door on a lot of money because these people are I had to use the word money, I'm sorry.
Yes.
These people are bringing their strength and their talent. They're saying, hey, I know you're the director and you're new, but here's what I thought. We've always done it this way, and we should continue doing it this way. You might hire someone new that says, no, that doesn't work. Let's try it this way. So again, as a new leader, be willing to listen. That is the most crucial thing I find in our industry that we do not do. If you
Mm,
put women in a room, 9 times out of 10, only two of them are going to talk because the
mm.
other four don't get a chance to. And I've observed this so many years in my career, Chris, where we walk away from a meeting and we would call them focus groups. Back in my day, we called them, I know you've heard that word. We'd call them
Yes.
focus groups and they'd say, well, we have Regina Miller in the room and she's not said a word. It's not that I'm not saying a word, it's because someone brought, you can't be the smartest person in a room. So someone has brought some talent to the room that I now want to hear about. And then I can add my season to it, if that
Right.
makes sense. So
Yes.
young leaders, I would employ them to pretty much understand that you will not have every answer. And even the tenured ones who have been in the industry over 20 years. I hear people say, well, you can't tell me what to do. I've been in this field 20 years. Well, we've changed a lot. We've changed in the last 3 years. Since COVID, we've changed. So
Mhm.
I don't get it when people say, well, already know what I'm doing, or I don't
Mhm.
need any help. That is the kiss of death. So
Yes.
as a new leader, never say to anyone, thank you for talking to me, Miss Kris, but I already know about that. Listen to Miss Kris. Let her talk to you. There's something in that conversation that you have not heard before. Trust
Right.
me.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I could
And
just go on and
no,
on
it's
about
good. This is good. This is good stuff. This is
yeah, I could
really,
just go on and on about leadership because
it's good.
one of the things that drives the ship, and it's one of the things that's least looked at, if I might
Yes.
use the term. A lot of people,
100%.
yeah, you're a lot. It drives me crazy when I go to conferences, and that's in my book. And I'll be the keynote, and people will come up to me and I'll say, well, I'd love to meet your owner. And they say, oh, she didn't come. He didn't come. They
Mhm.
sent me. Well, you can't really send people to get something that you're not willing to get yourself. So I
Yes.
always say the leader needs to come with the flock. Yeah. Even if you send them off to different little trainings, still come with them. It speaks volumes of their talent to you. That we're all going to get it together. Yeah.
You know what? That is something that we don't talk about enough on this podcast. I've got so many owners. They're all, 85% of my guests on this podcast are owners of a single or multiple locations. And they're all usually very involved in the evolution and growth and leadership of their schools. But sometimes when you get big and you have, 5 or 6 locations, and maybe even if you have one, you
Hmm.
get into a mode where you decide that you don't really need to be present as the owner, and you send your teams to all the trainings and you stay back, and you're an absentee owner and you're not part of building the culture, and leadership starts from the very top down.
Yes. Yes.
So I think
Yes.
that that is an important thing to state, which is that the most successful schools have very involved ownership teams and have owners who are, intricately involved in setting up the core values and the cultures of their programs. And then they're,
That's right.
building up their
Right.
leaders, having leadership retreats, working
Yes.
together as teams, diving in. Of course, you're going to delegate a lot as a
Yes.
successful owner, but
Yes.
yeah, I think
But you need it too. You need it too.
yes,
One of the things I get told quite often, and I'm not bragging about myself, but I'm definitely going to toot my horn, is people say, "Oh my God, I can't believe how you inspire and train, but you also come back and inspire and train us, but you send us and you go with us." If I pick a training from my team, if I'm going to send them to Child Care Success Summit, I'm coming too,
yes,
because it means a whole lot to your team when they see that you are there and that you want that same knowledge. And
yeah,
so it just can't be you just you sitting them all the time and asking them, what did you learn? Because they want to be excited with you. And a lot of
mm,
times my trigger question is, tell me your takeaway from that conference, because I have so many. And then they're like, you have takeaway after all your knowledge? And I'm like, I have takeaways. Now what did you learn? And sometimes
mhm.
we got two different things out of it, or we get the same thing out of it. So yes, that's what I talk about in that book, that leaders cannot ask of their people what they're not willing to do themselves. And a lot of times you can't just delegate that down. You need to
That's
be in.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Talk a little bit about the industry in terms of what you see with early childhood education. We're here 4 years past COVID. We've gone through lots of turbulence in terms of funding, drying up funding, different states going into different phases with requirements on staffing or getting into the whole pre-K, the universal pre-K movement.
Yeah.
And that has impacted a lot of programs, some positive, some not so positive. So just talk a little bit about, because since you're out and about doing
Yes.
trainings for the industry, what are you seeing in the industry, and what are some reasons why we should stay optimistic about
Well,
what our
one
industry?
of the things that I'm very proud of is that this past May, actually last month, I went to Washington, D.C. to the big childcare symposium, and we spoke to our legislators about, bills and things that are changing. And, a lot of times people just focus on funding. A lot of people talk about we need more funding, we need money, we need money. There's already money here to be made. There's already families needing care. However, what we need to focus on is just ensuring that our industry is strong years down the line, not just for the moment. A lot of times we plug a hole with a grant and we say, "Oh my goodness, I've got this, $500,000 grant and I'm good." And then when that grant money's gone, you sit and complain about there's no more. So I would like to see our people get more involved in advocacy and talking to our legislators and letting them know that yes, we are part of the education system. It's not just K through 12 or to college. It starts with us. And believe it or not, Kris, as an advocate, I always tell any legislator or senator I'm allowed to speak with, we started this thing. We are the starters. So you can't treat us like we're babysitters when we're actually educators. And he says, I wish more people, a lot of them tell me, I wish more people understood that fact about your industry. It's like
Mhm.
with any profession, we respect doctors and nurses and dentists, but we don't respect our early childhood educators because for one thing, we always wait on a crisis to act. Like we get together and we can be boisterous when the funds stop. We can be boisterous when we have to shut down for COVID. We need to be boisterous. This is passion for me. We need to be boisterous all the time. Even in the quiet time, someone should step up behind some of these behind the scenes grants and say, hey, don't forget early childhood when you're writing that bill. And that's one of the things I'm not afraid to do with our Congress. And I'm not afraid to do it here with our local legislators or in the Senate in Washington, D.C. I'm not afraid to write a letter and say, don't forget about us. And, that could be lost in transit because we need a massive amount of people to rally with that. So, again, in the long and short of things, we need more advocates. We need people speaking up and saying, hey, don't forget about us. We're not babysitters, we're educators. And I think people
Yes.
yeah, they get bogged down with they changed the law, and so now anyone can do childcare. Yeah, but not everyone's qualified to do childcare.
Mhm.
So we have to make this an industry that's looked at as a profession.
Yes, 100%. And I had Cindy Lenhoff on the podcast. I know that you're friends with her
Oh,
from
very much
National
so. One of my
Child Care.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll reference that in the show notes and the intro so people can reference back. I've done a couple of excellent episodes all about advocacy,
Yes.
and we need to revisit that and revisit
Yeah.
those to dos and those action items and keep going on it. It's not just a one
Absolutely.
and done. Yeah,
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
good.
That's right. The key.
That's the key, and I love it.
Yeah, it's like when everybody's having a great summer, Miss Regina's writing letters, or looking at the bills that the people, our legislators have written, and I'm really reading the fine print in it, and I'm thinking everybody's happy because this says they're going to put more money into private pre-Ks, and the schools are happy, but what about childcare centers? So then there's little me typing, don't forget about childcare centers. I need
Right.
more people doing that. Yeah.
Yes. What is something about you that not that many people know that you might consider to be a fun fact?
I'm a dancer, not a professional one, but boy, you give me a beat. I was invited to a friend's 79th birthday party this past weekend, and she was the queen on the stage, but I sure got her moves in for her because I danced for 4 hours at my own birthday party. I never
Mm,
sat down. I absolutely love that. It's something about music and just rhythm and the beat. And I can
yeah,
my granddaughter's taking that trait, which I love. She'll jump up in the house with me and dance.
yeah.
So I'm a dancer. Yeah.
Cool.
You got
Love
a
that.
boring party or you got a guest. My friends always invite me as the party starter. And we're not young spring chickens, so they'll say, we're having a party, Miss Regina. We need you to get up and dance because my guests won't dance. Well, once I dance, I make everybody dance because I'll go grab your guy, your boo, and say, Kristen, want to dance? Come dance with me. And then Chris will join us. I'm a dancer. I just
Yes.
love music. And I like all types of music, Chris. That's another thing people get surprised about me. I'm not in one sector of music. I'm not just R&B. I'm jazz. I'm country. I can boogie off anything you give me. Bluegrass. I like
Mhm.
music.
Nice. I'm the same way.
You
I love
like
it
to
all.
dance too? Yeah.
I love to
I
dance and I
my neighbor
oh,
says, "Boy, when I see the music come on your deck, I know Miss Regina's gonna put on a show." Yeah, I can dance.
so
Dance.
there is something that has touched a lot of people who've attended my summit that connects dancing and leadership.
Uh-huh.
And I want to
Yes.
share it with the audience and with you. And you might know what I'm talking about. There is a video of a guy who is a random crazy dancer at a festival, some festival,
Mhm.
probably in California somewhere. I don't know where he
Yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah.
And he's on the hillside and he's just jamming away by himself. And he does not care that he's by himself jamming away. And he's probably out there for at least 5 or 10 minutes by himself. And then all of a sudden, one other person comes and joins him and starts dancing. And then another person comes. And then a few minutes later,
Yeah.
another person comes. And you can watch this on YouTube. I'll put the link in the show notes. It's awesome. Before you know it, the whole hillside
Oh, wow.
is full
Yeah,
of dancers. This
yeah.
is what leadership is. A leader
Yes.
stands in the middle and
Yep,
tries to start a culture or a
yep,
movement. And
yep. Start
then
that fire.
that's right, start the fire.
Yeah,
And then it just takes one other person on his team or her team to join.
yep.
And before you know it, it starts snowballing, and then your whole school will be
That's
dancing
true.
together.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Yeah.
kinda Cindy's gonna laugh when she sees this part of your podcast because and I went to visit her in Florida after my daughter passed away. I just needed to get away, and she invited me down, and we went to I don't know where we were, but we were near the ocean, and the dance floor was huge, and nobody was on it, so guess who went on it? Me. And
You.
then I got another lady, she joined me, and then I had Cindy come out, and she was like, "Oh, no, Miss Regina," and we just got out there. Before you knew it, we had a floor full of elbow to elbow dancers. And so
Yes.
the DJ says, "You started all of this." And I said, "Yeah, that's usually what I do. I take a group that don't want to get involved and I get them involved." So I really, really love dancing. And I think it is part of leadership. It is part of being able to say, and not everybody, like my hairstylist says, "I'm so introverted, I can never get up in front of people and dance." You're not worried about those people. You know that saying, dance like no one's looking? Just
That's
listen
right.
to the music and let your soul go with that music. And next thing you
Yes.
know, rhythm, you know?
Yes. And that also brings up, I was going to ask you about, I mean, obviously you're an extrovert, right? So it comes naturally to
Yes.
you, but there's a lot of people in our industry. I think our industry tends to be more introverts than
Yeah.
extroverts.
Yeah.
So, how do we help leaders who are timid, they're fearful, they don't trust themselves, and they may have had bad experiences trying to have those hard conversations? How do we get them to pull out, their courage and just show up more fully for themselves and for their teams? How do you get them to do that?
And I want to shout out to all of my introverted friends in
Mhm.
early childhood because you guys are the ones that are sitting and looking at us and going, "Wow, I get it all the time. Miss Regina, I wish I was as boisterous as you." Well, you are. And so, what I would ask them to do is write down the things that they want to be heard. A lot of times people don't want to use their voice, but you can write it down and say, "Chris, would you mention this? Miss Regina, would you talk about this?" So I get a lot of emails that go something like this, Chris. "I don't have the nerve to get up and do this, but I know you do. So would you please mention that we're in a crisis with this and this and this?" And I'll say, "I certainly will." One of the other things I ask introverts to do is find a friend, find somebody, a mentor, a coach, or a buddy that you know is the opposite of you. You like with me, I tend to draw a lot of introverted people and they go, "Well, I'm not going if Regina's not going." And then once I get them with me, they mirror me. They start talking. Like my director of my school, when I first hired Jasmine, one of the things I had to talk to her about was you've got to get out there and talk to those parents. They love you and they know you from paper, but they want to see you in person. And she's like, I'm not you. And I looked her square in the eye like I'm doing you. And I said, you don't have to be me, but you have to be you. They need to know
Mhm.
who you are. And so you'll hear parents say, oh, I wanted to tell Miss Jasmine hair is so pretty, but I didn't want to embarrass her. But let's see if you tell Miss Regina that, I'm like, oh, wait, thank you. What did you think about that cut? And, so yeah, we're all different, but we're all the same. Trust
Mhm.
me. We're all
Yes.
different, but we're all the same. And so as leaders, you just find that person to be your outlet.
Mhm.
You got ideas in there, and you've got what you need. We all do. I don't believe God sent anybody here without what they need. And I really believe that more than that now that I lost my daughter. I
Yeah.
really don't think he sends us without what we need. It's just timing. The timing has to be right. So if you're an introverted leader and you're looking for how do I get my message out, or how do I not sound like I don't know what I'm doing, I would say find a friend, a mentor, and you get together and you do that thing together.
Mhm.
So,
Awesome. Love it. Well, Regina, we are coming to the pointy end of the podcast. And unfortunately, we're running out of time. I could talk to you for another hour and it would go like this, I am sure.
I know it does.
Tell us about what you're excited about here in the summer of 2025. What's headed on your plate for the rest of the year and into 2026? Anything you want to share?
Absolutely. One of the things I'm most excited about is my management team is persons deep, and I'm getting to take them to Las Vegas next Friday. And you might say, well, that's a fun trip. You would be surprised what you can teach a leader in Vegas. And I
Hmm.
don't want to give away too much secret. Well, this will be aired afterwards, so they'll already
Yes.
have had the secret. One of the things that I'm going to do in Vegas is, how one of my leaders is extremely introverted. It's not my director anymore; it's her assistant director, and I want to put her in a crowd of people in Vegas because you feel like people watching is being nosy. No, people watching is learning. So you get to learn all kind of attributes and people's talents and strengths. Gonna take them to a show. It's a homework assignment to find out who did you see in the crowd? What happened in the crowd? I'm also training a piece called the five hours of leadership. I think I have that book. That's a really good one, Kris. This book, I'm gonna train on this. I wrote this training, so if you want to take it out of your podcast, you can, but
Yes. Cool. All right.
it's called
Love it.
the 5 hours of leadership. I'm not
Okay.
gonna tell you what those 5 hours are, but they're pretty intense.
All
I'll send
right.
you a copy. How about that?
All right. Cool.
Copy, because it's
Love
really
that.
intense. It's things people don't think about, but we're gonna get it.
Gotcha. So you're going
Yeah.
to work on that. You're going to
Yeah.
work on what they see and observe and
Yeah.
learn
And
there
how
in
you
Vegas. Yep.
Yep. And how you use that in a crowd of people. Because if you can get along in Vegas or New York, you can get along anywhere. So
Yes.
I want to show them some of the strengths they have. Gonna play a
Yeah.
scavenger hunt game, make them find stuff, They're gonna think
Yeah.
they're crazy. They're gonna say, this woman's lost her mind. But it's all in leadership can be fun and you can learn a lot, but you also need to put yourself in uncomfortable positions.
Yes. So there's a fun one on that for people that are going to Vegas with their teams. We did this at the Vegas Summit. Afterwards, we had
Yes.
our entire team there and we went to Fremont Street, which is old
Yes.
time. And we did there is a scavenger hunt company that will break your team into, so we had like 25 of us. So we broke into
They
like,
told me mine was too small. I tried to hire them.
yes. Okay.
Mine
So there
was
you
too
go.
small. I needed at
Yeah.
least 10 people. Yeah.
Yes, but you can create your own
Yeah.
by just because there's superhero characters on the street.
Yeah.
There's so they can do all sorts of
Yeah.
things, but making them go up to strangers or being in discomfort by having to go find X, Y, and Z is
That's
excellent. That's
right.
a great way to get out of their comfort
And you
zone.
want tangible proof when you find Superman and Elvis, take a picture with them,
That's right. 100%. Love that. Yeah.
And then
Good.
the other thing that I'm working on is a literacy program for the fall. I'm really excited about that for the big kids. They can come back and check out library books, and pretty much at the end of a quarter, it's going to be for 3 months. end of a quarter, they'll be rewarded with gift cards. So by Christmas, a family could earn 4 gift cards. But you have to bring your kid to the school to check out the book. You know what that is? That's a marketing strategy, Tris. It makes the parent bring the older kid, but then their friends start saying, well, where are you going? And they say, hey, we're picking up our 7-year-old. We're going past Trailblazers. And someone else may have a younger child and say, well, do they have any openings? So it's a way of bringing traffic into the school. So,
Yes. Love
yeah.
that. I love all things marketing and enrollment building. So that's
Me too. Me
fantastic.
too. Me too.
Good.
Anytime you get people in your building and
Yep.
take a look at it, you've won. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Cool. Well, thank you. This has been an amazing episode. I have loved spending this time with you today, Regina. And thank you for being here with me.
Well, thank you, Kris. I appreciate all of your time with me. And again, I could go on and on forever because after 47 years, it's hard to wrap everything in a bubble and say, this is who Regina is, or this is what I do. But I'm always open. So you can reach out to me.
And how can people best find you and get a hold of you and learn more?
Well, I do have the website, not website. I have an email address. I'll give it a plug. I'll send you a plug. So you can
Okay.
put it at the end of the thing here.
Yep.
You can also go to my website, R. Miller Consulting LLC, or through Trailblazers Academy. Any of those things have a link to me, and they can reach out to me. Or I have
Cool.
a phone number. You can call me. But I
And
love
you're
to.
on Facebook too. That's
Yes,
another
on
way.
Facebook is a little tricky because I use my maiden name in the middle, so it's Regina Purvis, Purvis Miller,
Right.
because a lot of my high school mates couldn't find me under Miller. So,
Sure.
yeah. And
Totally get that.
I joined a board at one of the local community colleges, and so a lot of the students were asking to be my friend, and I thought, okay, that's inappropriate. So I'll stick that Purvis in there. They won't find Regina Miller.
Right.
It worked.
Ah,
It
that's a
worked.
good strategy. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well,
Well,
thank you so
again,
much again, Regina. You're just a joy. You do bring the joy every single time, and
thank
you're just magnetic.
well, thank you,
That's to
Kris.
me, that's the word that comes to mind when I hang out with you. And joyful, and that kind of leadership always attracts more people to whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
So if you are struggling with finding people in your on your staff, or you can't keep people, is tap back into your joy, to your
yeah,
magnetism, into
that's
your
right.
your solid leadership
Yeah.
skills, and get the book, Leadership
Oh, please get the
Lessons.
book. Please get the book. Thank you, Kris. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you
Bye
so
bye.
much. Appreciate you too. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye. I hope you liked this episode of Child Care Rockstar Radio. If you did, please leave a review and share it with someone you know to help spread the word to friends in our industry and on social media. Childcare business success is my passion, and I'm honored to be on this journey with you. As a thank you for listening, I've got a new video training that shows you how to add 6 figures or more of new revenue to your program in the next 60 days by improving your hiring and your enrollment systems. To watch my new video, just go to www.fixmyschool.com. That's fixmyschool.com. Thanks. Take care and God bless.